What's going on, guys? So, what I'm going to talk about, all right, for you guys have been following me for a while. I've been away. I've been just living life, guys. But you know what I realized is that I need to give more based on all of these years that I've spent learning and absorbing this knowledge and information and um, about building your own, creating your own success, creating life, being abundant, living in prosperity, and look, here's the thing. Even when there's adversity, even when there's adversity, you can change the trajectory of your life. Okay. Just because things happen that try to slow you down, there's always going to be challenges and roadblocks and issues and things that come up. That's the world that we live in. We live in this kind of chaos soup, right? So we're in this soup of chaos on a day-to-day basis of consciousness. People believe and think different things, and they're able to impact the world around them in their own ways. And we live in this world where nothing is certain. What is certain? That's a good question. Start with that. What is certain? Well, a brick, right? If someone hits you in the face with a brick, the brick is pretty certain. It's real, right? But ideas and things that are intangible, thoughts, beliefs, that sort of thing, they're only real if you accept them to be real and use them within your reality. And that doesn't actually necessarily mean that they're real in the world, right? So the real world presents to us challenges, right? The real world presents to us physical obstacles, real physical, tangible challenges and obstacles. And prosperity is an idea. The same point that these ideas, if you take hold of an idea, you can map out your reality around that idea, right? Because then entering into an idea is perception, perspective, and you have to compare that against or match that with reality, right? So reality, what most people say is reality, is the physical world, right? The physical universe, right? Like my phone, it's real, it's hard, it's physical, you can see it, it's tangible. But when you have a thought, I hear this a lot, thoughts become things. Well, I don't, thoughts are a thing, a thought is a thing, right? But what is it? The question is, what is it? It's intention, it's energy, it's your interaction with the physical world. It's your interaction with reality, according to quantum physics. So my goal is I'm going to start doing a lot more videos, start building my channel, start doing some content. So I don't have any particular agenda other than speaking about what's on my mind. And, at the end of the day, I feel like I have, I've put a lot of time and energy into things that were a lot more worth my time, but, sharing my gifts with the world, something that will pay more dividends. So this is something that I want everyone, all of you, to think about, is that sharing your gifts with the world is what is going to pay you dividends. The more that you can share, the more that you can give, the more good seeds that you can sow, right? So there's two biblical concepts that I like to focus on, and that is life and death is in the power of the tongue. So what you speak has power. And so not just that, life and death is in the power of the tongue, but as you sow, so shall you reap, which means that as you plant seeds, as you do things, as you plant seeds in the universe, as you plant seeds in the physical world, they start to grow. Now, a lot of people are just planting weeds and letting weeds grow. right? Or a lot of people are letting other people plant seeds in them. You know, so what happens is life becomes this experience of constantly having to, you know, pull those weeds and tilling the soil, and then, you know, planting your own seeds, and then you go back out into the world and people are throwing more seeds at you of things that they, you know, their seeds, right, that you don't necessarily want. So now what does that create? It creates adversity, because it creates, it's a counter effort to your production. It's a counter effort to what it is that you're trying to accomplish or achieve. So that's adversity. Now, how do you prosper in adversity? Well, if you can start to identify the source of adversity, the source of those counter efforts, the source of those things that are taking your time, taking your attention, and taking it away from your own goals, your own thoughts, your own attention and awareness, you start to get some of your freedom back. You get that attention back. So in this modern age, modern world, where we're spending so much time in this virtual reality, in the metaverse, right? YouTube, you guys are watching me. I am real. I am here, physically real, in a physically real place. However, in your mind, I'm in the metaverse, right? Because you're just on YouTube listening. That's the metaverse. There's a, you know, what is the bridge between the real and the unreal, and the metaphysical or surreal? In this case, it's like, you know, all these different timelines are being created, because you can just click on a video and then boom, you access this. You're accessing this timeline. You watch this video 10 years from now, you're accessing this timeline and this information and this thought. So that is what's so interesting to me, right? But at the end of the day, prosperity is self-ascribed, right? Pretty much everything in our world, in our life, is self-ascribed, right? But in the case of wealth and prosperity and abundance, those are self-ascribed. They have definitions, but the context of those definitions to you are self-ascribed. So what is abundance to you? What is prosperity to you? What is wealth to you, right? So these are questions that you should ask yourself to understand and gain clarity around what it is that you want, around what it is that you are truly creating, what you're truly after, right? So prosperity is a state of mind. It is a consciousness. It is a state of consciousness. It is a state of awareness, right? You guys have all heard people talking about the reticular activating system. This is the part of your brain that generates awareness. You know, somebody points out a red car to you. Now all of a sudden you're seeing red cars everywhere. That's the system in your mind that points out this level of focus. So the same is true with a level of consciousness or awareness that you can tap into, or that you choose to be a part of, right? Or that you choose to call into your being, into your life. And that is a form of consciousness and awareness. So the prosperity consciousness, it is a consciousness, it's a level of understanding. It is an understanding of the nature of the universe, which is abundant, right? In most cases, in many cases, if you were to go into a forest, right, you would see an abundance of trees. There is an abundance. It is natural. It is nature. It is part of life. Life is very, very, very abundant. Now, when you look at the trees are extremely abundant, right? They don't just have two leaves on the tree. It has thousands, hundreds of thousands. It's abundant. There's so many that they're falling down on the ground, and there's still so many. And you know, and then you look at the fruit that the trees produce, right? This is abundance. This is the nature of life. It's the nature of life to be abundant. It's the nature of life to prosper. Now, maybe let's try to think of an example. Maybe there's a tree that is struggling to get access to water, right? There's like a little baby tree and it doesn't have the root system yet, and all the big trees are sucking up all the water. Now this tree has adversity, right? Because it doesn't have the same ability to thrive and survive in abundance the same way that the other trees are, because they're so abundant. They're absorbing the water. In this example, right? What do you do to survive in that adversity? The tree has to get water, right? So it could be that the way that life is set up, and it's hard to use this as the example of the tree versus a human being, because as human beings we have the ability to choose. So we choose what to believe. We choose what to think about things. We choose how to rationalize things that we experience, right? A tree maybe necessarily can't do that. A tree can't get up and get more water, right? And so there's this distinction as a living being to understand the nature of abundance, the nature of life being abundant, and as beings, human beings, the power that we truly have in our choice, in our belief, in our ability, right? So that is the ability that we've been granted by God. God said, "You are made in my image," right? If we're made in the image of God, we have the ability to create. We are creators. Now, in the modern day, there are so many creators, so many people. This is how war happens, right? You have people with opposing creations, people with opposing ideas and wills and desires, creating conflict and acting upon it. So if you're abundant, if you're prospering in the adversity, if somebody comes to you and tries to stop you in some way, they try to harm you or impede your ability to prosper, you have two choices, right? You can run, you can fight. And at the end of the day, there's another choice, and that is simply to disengage and prosper. The more that you prosper, the more prosperity that you grow, the more attention that you put on your prosperity and the blessings and the abundance in your life, the more that grows. And eventually that energy overtakes these things that are not in alignment. In a sense, you're jumping timelines, or you're jumping to a different reality, because reality is a choice. It is an agreed upon construct. So if that's true, reality is agreed upon construct, then there are a lot of different realities in existence. And the problem is, when all these various realities are clashing in the physical world, what do you do about it? Well, it's an interesting question, and it's an interesting thing to think about. But the key point is that the more that you focus and turn your attention, like a dial, it's like a dial on a radio. When the old school radio transmitters, turn the dial to change the channel. In your mind, it's the same thing. You can change the channel. And as you change the channel, the difference is you're telling your mind where to go. You're broadcasting the same at the same time that you're tuning in. So you're turning the knob to change what you're tuning into, but then at the same time you have to change what you're broadcasting, right? So it's a perfect analogy, right? Our minds are like radio receivers as well as broadcasters. We're broadcasting at any given moment. and then we're receiving at any given moment. The question is, what are you tuning into to receive, allowing yourself to receive? There's thousands of radio waves going through the air right now. You don't see or hear all of them, just what you're tuning into. So from the standpoint of receiving, understanding what you're receiving, that's the idea. You choose what it is you will or will not listen to. At the same time, your mind, your being is broadcasting. You're broadcasting who you are. You're broadcasting your ideas. You're broadcasting energy. You're broadcasting your thoughts out into the universe. So part of that prosperity, tuning out or moving yourself away from the trouble or the adversity, moving yourself away from that, tuning your mind off of it, and then broadcasting out something that is good, something that is positive, something that's going to bring back and grow upon and expand your abundance and prosperity. It's a state of being, it's a state of mind. So the more that you can understand, the more that you can tune into this mind energy, the mindset of abundance, the more that you can tune into it and understand it and broadcast it, the more that you're going to bring in. Because you're sending a message out to the universe that you are abundant, you are growing, you are expanding. And the adversity should show you and teach you, right? It's either a blessing or a lesson. You should learn, and don't let it stop you. So, focusing on the abundance, focusing on the prosperity, focusing on that which you want to expand. It's beautiful. It's a wonderful thing. You have the power. Now, a lot of people, they go out into this chaos soup, the soup of confusion, right? All these people are broadcasting random things. You're getting random messages. You don't know what to tune into, right? You have to consciously choose what you're going to listen to, what you're going to tune into, what is real, and what you're going to allow to expand and to take hold. It's the same with reaping and sowing, planting a seed. You allow what seeds to take hold and grow versus what you rip out and uproot, right? So that's another biblical concept, keeping your mind, keeping your thoughts captive, which means you're able to see and understand and watch what is happening in your mind, what you're thinking, what you're believing, and what it's doing to you and what it's doing to the world around you. So, just some thoughts that I wanted to share. I think prosperity, it's an idea, it's a concept. Anybody can accomplish and achieve it. It is a state of being, it's a state of mind. Once you achieve that, you can grow upon that. You can start seeing the results in reality, because believing is seeing. Seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. Believing and bringing that in, expanding that energy is what's going to attract to you those things that you want. And you have to take inspired action, right? Faith without works is dead. You have to take inspired action. You have to believe that what you're doing is going to make a difference. It's going to make an impact. There is going to be a response. You are planting a seed, and that seed is going to take root and grow. So that is how you can prosper in the face of adversity.